everyone, this is part 1 of operations with integers. We are going to be doing adding and subtracting integers. Part 2 is multiplying and dividing integers. Let's get started. Let's define integers. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers. Remember that whole numbers are your counting numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 0. Integers would be the negatives as those as well. So maybe -1, -2, -3. 5 examples of numbers that are integers would be 1, 2, 0's an integer, and then negatives, maybe -8, -10. 5 examples of numbers that are not integers would be decimals, maybe 8/10. The number pi is not an integer. 1/2 is not an integer. -2/10, -4/5. 3 examples of integers in the real world. A lot of times you will see positive and negative numbers or integers when they're talking about the temperature, if it's above or below 0. Sometimes you will see it with elevation, if it's above or below sea level. If you know how golf is scored, it's in golf scores. It could even be in a bank account if they are in debt above or below 0. The next one says to define addition. This is going to be important in understanding integers and how to add and subtract integers. We are going to define addition as combining like items or like terms. Graph 2 plus 5 on the number line. Now I know this may seem a little bit basic, but we're going to start with basic and then get to the integers. So 2 means I have 2 and I am joining it with 5. I'm going to start with 0. I start with 0. I have 2. I'm going to go to 2 and then I'm going to join that with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my answer is 7. Next question. Graph 2 plus -5 on the number line. Same thing. I start with 2 and I am joining that with -5. 2, and then I have 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's negative, so I'm going to go the opposite direction. That's going to land me on -3. Explain in words how you graph 2 plus -5 on the number line. Well, I started at 0, drew an arrow to 2, then since I am joining -5, I drew another arrow 5 units long to the left. Next question on the next page. Graph -2 plus 5 on the number line. So this time I am starting with -2. So I start at 0 and I go to -2. And I'm going to join that with 5. No, it's +5, so I'm going to go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I land on 3. Explain in words how you graphed -2 plus 5 on the number line. Same thing. I started at 0, went to -2, and then I drew an arrow to the right 5 units. Graph -2 plus -5 on the number line. I'm going to start at -2, or start at 0, go to -2, and then I'm adding another -5. So I'm going to, from -2, I'm going to keep going left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that stops me at -7. Explain in words how you graph -2 plus -5 on the number line. Well, I started at 0, went to the left -2, and went to the left 5 more for -5. Now we're going to practice. Simplify and graph the following expressions. 3 plus -8. Starting at 0, I go to 3, and then I'm adding a -8. So to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that stops me at -5. -8 plus 6. So I go from 0, draw it to -8. I have -8, and I am joining that with 6 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That stops me at -2. Next question, -1 plus 7. From 0 to -1, And now I'm adding -7. So I'm going to the left since it's negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. that stops me right here at -8. 9 plus -5. So I have 9 all the way up here to 9. And I'm joining that with 5 negatives back to the left since it's negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I end at 4. Next question. -3 plus 7. From 0 to -3. And I'm joining that with 7 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I end at 4. Number 6. -2 plus -6. So go to -2, and I'm joining that with 6 more negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I am at -8. Next page, we are now going to talk about additive inverse. The opposite of a number is called the additive inverse. Let's identify the additive inverse of these numbers here in the table. For example, the additive inverse of 5 is -5. That's the opposite. The additive inverse of -3 would be 3. The additive inverse of -2, or opposite, is 2. And the additive inverse of 8, or opposite of 8, will be -8. Now we're going to graph more on the number line. It asks us to graph 5 plus -5 on the number line. We have 5, and we are joining that with a -5. Now notice that 5 and -5 are additive inverses, and that will give me 0. Next one, graph -3 plus 3 on the number line. Again, -3 and 3 are additive inverses. So we go to -3, and we're adding 3, and I end up at 0. Graph 8 plus -8 on the number line. I have 8. Again, 8 and -8 are additive inverses, and I'm joining that with -8. So I'm going back, and I end up at 0. Let's answer this question. The sum of a number and its additive inverse is always 0. Notice that's what we got in every one of these examples, and it will always be that. Which number has an additive inverse of 0? 0. Zero is the only example where its additive inverse is itself. Let's go on to the next page where we're going to be doing subtraction. Okay, now it says define subtraction. I know when you were in elementary, you may have learned subtraction as take away. And while that is true, it can often infer that you are making a number smaller, which is not always true. Subtraction is also the difference between two numbers, which is true, but we are going to also define subtraction as adding the opposite of a number or adding the additive inverse. Rewrite the following subtraction as an addition problem. When we start doing this, I think it's very helpful to do some circling. We have 2, and we're going to change the subtraction to addition, and then we're going to write the opposite of this number right here, the opposite of the second number. So that is an 8. And we are going to put that in parentheses, because if I don't, it's going to look like 2 plus -8, and it can get confusing. So the parentheses just help us distinguish it from the plus. So it says 2 plus -8. Explain how you change the subtraction problem into an addition problem. Well, I changed the subtract sign into an addition sign, and I wrote the opposite of 8, or the additive inverse of 8, which is -8. Graph this addition problem on the number line. 2 minus 8, or 2 plus a -8. So we have 2, and we are joining that with a -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 minus 8, or 2 plus -8, is -6. Next question, rewrite the following subtraction problem as an addition problem. So we have -3 minus 5. -3 minus 5. So we're going to do the subtraction to an addition problem and change the 5 to the additive inverse or the opposite. Again, I'm going to use parentheses to distinguish from the plus sign there. Explain how you change the subtraction problem into addition problem. Well, I changed the subtraction to a plus, and I change the 5 to a -5. Graph your addition problem on the number line. So we have -3 plus -5. So -3 joined with -5, and I am on -8. So -3 minus 5, or -3 plus a -5 is -8. Rewrite the following subtraction problem as an addition problem. I have 4, and I'm subtracting a -3. So I have 4, and I'm changing my subtraction to addition, and I'm going to circle again here. I need to do the opposite of this number right here, a -3. So now it says 4 plus, and the opposite of -3 is 3. 4 plus 3. Explain how you change the subtraction problem into addition problem. Same idea. I change the subtraction to addition, and I change the -3 to its additive inverse or opposite, which is 3. Graph your addition problem on the number line. So I have 4 plus 3. 4, and then I'm joining that with 3 positives. 1, 2, 3. And that puts me at 7. So 4 minus a -3, or 4 plus 3, is the same as 7. Another one, rewrite the following subtraction problem as an addition problem. So I have -1, and I'm going to change it to addition, and I'm doing the additive inverse of -9, or the opposite, so it's going to be 9. Explain how you change the subtraction problem into an addition problem. Well, I should change the subtract to add, and I change -9 to its additive inverse or opposite of 9. Graph your addition problem on the number line. So I have -1, and I'm joining that with positive 9, so to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I land on 8. So -1 minus a -9 is 8, which is the same as -1 plus 9. Next page, we're going to do some practice. Rewrite the following expressions into addition problems, graph and simplify. 4 minus 6. 4 plus the opposite of this number, -6. And again, I'm going to use parentheses when it's like this so it doesn't get confusing between the plus there. And I'm going to graph it and solve it. So I have 4, and I'm joining that with -6, going this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I land on -2. -7 minus 2. I have -7 plus the opposite of this number. The opposite of 2 is -2. Again, write that in parentheses. So I'm doing -7 plus a -2. I have -7, and I am joining that with -2. 1, 2. And I land on -9. -2 minus a -9. I have -2. Change the subtract to addition, and we're doing the additive or opposite of this number. So the additive inverse of -9 is 9. And again, I don't need to put parentheses here because I only have one symbol between them. -2 plus 9. So I have -2, and I'm joining that with 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I land on 7. 2 more. 8 minus -1. 8 plus the additive inverse of the second number, which is 1. So it's 8 plus 1. And I should know that is 9, but I'm going to graph it anyways. So all the way up to 8, and add one more, I'm at 9. -9 minus a -3. I have my first number, change it to addition, make that the additive inverse right here. So -9 plus 3 on the number line, I go to -9, and I'm going to add 3. 1, 2, 3. And I land at -6. Okay, that's it for part 1 of adding and subtracting integers.